Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ike MMA podcast. I'm joined in studio with five-time world Muay Thai fighting champion Lyndon Knowles. Lyndon, good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. How are you preparing for your upcoming bout this coming Saturday at Raw against Simon or Simone Mendes? I think Simon Mendes. He's fighting out of Spain, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, he is. Well, most of the preparation's done now. But if I'm honest, is just staying sharp and make sure we don't pick up any injuries come before Saturday. If I'm honest.
I've had a look at his records and okay, I checked quite a few sources, Tapology being the first one, but he seems to be, is this going to be his first professional bout? Because he seems to be unranked. So I was thinking after seeing that this should be like quite
Nah,
an easy win.
he's ranked in the WBC. He's ranked number five underneath me. I'm number four at the moment. Well, my number three and he's number five. I'm not sure which way around it is because he's the international WBC champion. He won it in January with a head kick KO. I'm not quite sure against who.
Wow. Okay, I need to stop checking you going by Tapology because clearly they're not the most accurate source for combat sports records of competitive athletes.
Yes.
Um, So how do you see the fight going? I mean, if his ranks beneath, I mean, do you feel that there's added pressure for you to go in there and really showcase your talent and beat him and win?
I mean, but there's always pressure on yourself, really, because you put so much time and effort into your training, and you always want to do your best. So I don't really think any fight's different if it's for a title or anything like that. I always want to prove to myself that I'm the best and I'm the best version of me. So there's always pressure. For me, there's always pressure. Doesn't matter if you're below me in the rankings or above me in the rankings. I try and concentrate on myself because that's the only thing I can control. And I just put it in there, and then what happens Saturday happens Saturday.
It's the first one of me speaking to you, and I do this with actually every person that I'm speaking to for the first time. You know, with such a huge successes that you've achieved in the sport, and for what I've gathered, you've been in the sport for at least well over 20 years.
Yeah. So yeah, we're hitting the 2 decades. So yeah,
Can you
yeah.
give a bit of just history on your backstory, how you got into combat sports, and why in particular did you go for Muay Thai? Which is something I think I'll start asking people, why this particular discipline of combat sports?
So I got into it when I was 17, 18. Um, so my whole family we were put into swimming at a young age. From my mum and dad, they put us into swimming. I sort of come to the end of that 16, 17. I started working and I couldn't do every night. So I was trying to figure out what else I wanted to do. Still wanted to do something competitive. And Christian knows my older brother. He just started fighting. So he had started having his first professional fight. And I went along and watched as you would because he's your brother. And I fell in love with it and started training with him. And then not too long after that, we started training. Um, we went to Thailand together, did a month in Thailand, come back, had my first fight at 18. Um, and then shortly after that, my dad passed away, and Chris took the plunge and decided to buy himself a full-time gym. And we sort of, as a family, started mainly more Chris than the family, but we all supported each other in it. And I went and worked there because I didn't, after losing my dad, I didn't really fancy going to work for anyone else or anything like that. I wanted to be close to my family. And we just went from there. And then, so we've had the Knowles Academy. But back then we were running it as minor tours because we sort of kept minor tours because we were still training under Paul Taylor and Ralph Beal. And and then eventually we started running it as the Knowles Academy, what Christian did, and that's where we are today.
And so far, the story has been a really, really good one. Some of your successes upon successes.
Yeah, so I started fighting at super heavyweight as well. Like, so I started fighting, and I was doing okay. I was doing okay. I had the first few fights. I was about 100 kilos. And then my dad died, and I sort of blew up, but I was still getting away with winning. I was being 115, 120 kilos, and I was still winning. And then it wasn't until I fought Daniel Sams, and you must know Daniel Sams is a big dude, and I sort of was like, why am I fighting these big dudes? And like from then I cut down to 95, done well at 90, 95, and then I fought at 90, and then I got offered a world title fight against a gentleman called Christian De Paulo, and not many people thought I should take the fight because I hadn't had many A class fights. Um, but no one else willing to fight him. I was willing to do the work, and I fought him, and I ended up winning, and I stopped him in round three with an elbow. So I went all the way down to 85 kilos, won three world titles at 85 kilos, and then I was flying around. I went all the way down to 81 kilos. I won the ISK European title at 81 kilos, but that was a bit too much for me, losing that much weight every fight. And I sort of lost the joy for it. I went a little bit up, I went back up, and then slowly, as I've got older, I've like decided I don't want to cut any weight anymore. So I'm back to fighting the big dudes. But I feel like I'm more mentally prepared now. I was young back then when I was 19, 19, 20. I don't feel like I was mentally ready to be fighting big guys, if I'm honest. It's sort of like I've always been tough, but sometimes being tough isn't the answer. Like you've got to be mentally strong as well. And I wasn't. It'd get in my head about, oh my God, they're massive. And then so you're already up against yourself before you even go in there. And I feel like I'm much better prepared for that now because I've accepted it. I know sometimes I'm going to be the smaller fighter, and I'm happy with that.
Mm. Going back to what you said just a bit further back in the conversation, you said how your father passed away. I think when a what's the word, matriarchal fi figure passes away, I think it brings the family a lot closer together. That this time is precious. We should make the most of it while we have each other, and of course create the best memories. Again, like you and your brother creating the Knowles Academy gym. Um, can I say that's an example of that because it's been such a good success or such a good success story, and I think a lot of successful Muay Thai fighters have come from that.
Yeah, I mean, from something so sort of upsetting and depressing has come something amazing, you know. So
Mm.
even in the hardest times, something amazing can be created. One of my favorite sayings, I'm not quite sure who said it, but sometimes when you're covered in darkness, you feel like the world's ending, but really you've just been buried to grow again and be better. You know, it's like a restart. You know, something better can come from the darkness because you're just being buried to then grow and bloom into something special.
How when you got a fight coming up like you do now, this coming Saturday, next Saturday, how is it that you stay mentally prepared and focused? Because as you're going through the days, the sparring training, of course, you're still going through daily life. I mean, if you do hear or hear any sort of negative news that comes your way, I mean, how do you handle that? How do you just make sure that you stay eye on the prize, that you've got a big job coming up this particular date? And how do you stay focused that when you go into that ring or cage, that you're going to come out the winner, the victor?
So I have a couple of sayings that I sort of live by now. So one of them is it's a bit silly, but like it's tomorrow's problem because really tomorrow never comes. So you'd be like, don't worry, I'll sort that out tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, so you can't think about it. 'Cause then it's tomorrow again. You'd be like, oh, yeah, so that's one way you can just deflect, say tomorrow never comes. And then one of my other favorite things is what would I rather do? Like get a real job. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
what? Like I know I'm 38 in a couple of weeks, but I don't want to get a real job. I love it.
No, of
I
course.
say that to myself, like, what am I going to do? Go and get a real job. Go and work in whatever, doing whatever, stacking shelves or something, because I never did any good in school. So yeah, that's another one I sort of live by. I don't want. Do you want to go and get a real job? Absolutely not.
They say, of course, there's the saying that when your work is something you love doing, it doesn't work anymore. It's more like
Right.
a hobby. Yeah. Um, so fight camp, I mean, you said that it's finished now, basically it's rounded up. It's just to dial it all in and step into the ring. But I mean, when you're cutting all that weight and still have to spar, train, and then eventually heading to the ring, I've managed to cut weight before. I've managed to lose about, say, 10 to 15 kilograms in about 1 or 2 months. But I mean, that's nothing compared to you guys because you guys still have to lose all that weight and then train like animals, like mad to fight.
So I'm not cutting any weight. So I've said that to Chris now. Look, I'm sort of done with cutting weight. I'm too old to deal with that because I get grumpy in fight camp anyway, and then add being hungry and grumpy is not a good mix. So with the WBC as well, their heavyweight's 91 plus. So I'm never gonna make 91. So I'm just like, let's not worry about it. So I'm lucky enough I don't have to cut weight. So I'm just grumpy, not hungry.
You don't miss leaning down that much to be, let's say, at least be agile enough to move quickly in the ring and to get your footwork on point. You don't miss that at all.
Uh, Do you know what? I think me and Chris were having a conversation the other day. I think I know we were, and I feel like my footwork has improved recently. I've managed to get better. I mean, I'm just waiting for the confirmed fight on one championship, and having to spar in them little gloves has really helped me sort of dial in my footwork a little bit better because you have to move a little bit more. I can't get away with just standing in the pocket and trading shots that I like. So I feel like where I've been sparring in little gloves and you have to be a little bit more on your toes and everything, it's helped me improve. So I actually feel like my footwork's better than it's ever been.
Um, can you talk a bit about maybe, I mean, five-time world champion. What future plans is it that you have in mind going forward? Because you fought not just here in the UK, but other various locations worldwide. But I mean, are there other bigger, let's say, mainstream promotions that you have your eye on that you'd like to compete in? Because you say you're going to be 38 in the next few weeks, but still know of some fighters who are even that age or slightly older. They still would like to compete like in the UFC. Don't ask me, you can say what you want about retiring and stuff like that, but that's still something that they do have in mind.
I mean, the dream was to be one world champion. That's the dream. To fight on the same show as Jonathan or Liam or even Freddie Haggerty, or at least believable. I've been lucky enough to be out there with John and Liam. I'd like it to be the other way around, like one of them cornering me for once, or us doing it together. Like, so that's the ultimate goal. Is the one belt. I'd love to have a WMC heavyweight title as well. So there's still a few goals that I want to tick off. I'm not looking to retire soon anyway. So yeah.
What is the atmosphere like fighting abroad? Like say I know you fought in say like the Ivory Coast. So in comparison to like here in the UK, what is the atmosphere like over there? I mean, I do know there are events whereby you do fight abroad on very, let's say, faraway turf, and you're the outsider coming in to fight their home guy. If you beat their home guy, I've seen instances whereby the crowd isn't necessarily nice to the person who won the fight. I mean, is that something you've kind of seen when you go to somewhere like Ivory Coast? As in, what's the comparison the atmosphere is like?
I have nothing but good things to say about the Ivory Coast. I had
Okay,
the
good.
best time there. As soon as I got off the plane, people knew who I was. what I was doing, asking me for photos, asking me to sign stuff. I don't even get that in my hometown. Like I'm in David
Wow.
Lloyd's now, and no one even bats an eyelid at me. But I got off the plane at Ivory Coast. I was getting stopped for photos everywhere we went, and do you know what? Everyone was really friendly, you know. And I had, I even said to Chris that I might as well live out here. How popular I am. They put me on telly 3 times, I think. I loved it. And then even though I beat their home boy, we didn't have no problems. People still wanted to have photos with me after I won. Like the Ivory Coast for me was one hell of an experience. I mean, a lot of people are like, "What are you doing going there?" And I'm like, "When else am I ever gonna go there?" So I'm so happy I went there. And then I know I lost in Australia, but again, Perth, I had the most amazing time in Perth. Um, the guys at Muaythai Grand Prix Australia looked after me so well. Um, yeah, I mean, and the crowd, I mean, it was a little bit hostile, you know, the Aussies versus the English, a bit of the
Yes, yeah.
ashes, a bit of cricket sort of tensions, but as soon as I sort of got on the mic and said like thank you, they all cheered me. I got cheered going into the ring as well, if I'm honest. So I was a little bit worried about that, but yeah, I love fighting abroad. I love being the away fighter. I've done the home fighting enough. Not that I don't love that, because there's nothing like it having your home crowd. Like next Saturday is going to mean everything to me.
Hmm.
But being able to go abroad and just have your eyes open up to that people know who you are around the world, it's an incredible feeling.
Oh, that's awesome. I do like that because it's something I can't stand or even understand. I mean, if you won the fight, you won the fight, even if it wasn't your own one of your own home fighters that if they didn't win, they didn't win. You just should accept it as it is, and there should be no animosity. The better fighter won, you know. Um,
Yeah.
look, definitely, I have to have you on the show again to really pick your brains. But again, actually, before I do wrap up, can I ask you about, and please don't take this the wrong way, and any guys, Christian Knowles, anyone from the Knowles Academy, please don't take this the wrong way, but your pink hat, is it supposed to be some sort of like a branding symbol why you wear it? As in, what's the story behind that?
So I absolutely love my pink hat. To be fair, if I was at home today, this afternoon, I would have had it on. I would have done my moustache as well properly, so it would have looked proper.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so I'm a little bit gutted I haven't got it on for you, but so just for me, it's me. Like I absolutely love the film Tombstone, the cowboy film. They all had great moustaches, and the thing is, I'm not American, so I sort of look back what did the English sort of gentleman wear? And it was either the top hat or the bowler hat, and I'm more working class, so I just decided I just decided on the bowler hat because I'm more of a working class kind of guy, and that's the guys that wore the bowler hat. And then I love having a moustache that I can gel and twizzle up, and it has just become my brand. Like my own logo is a picture of my hat and my moustache. That is sort of a branding thing, but just started off I'm like, what's the saying? We were born to stand out, so why blend in? I can't quite remember the quote, but it's something like that. Yeah, we're born to be different. So let's do it.
I ask you that because the first time I saw your profile on Instagram, as well as the fact that you're a five-time world champion in the sport, the fact that you had that pink hat, it did intrigue me a little bit, and I thought when you wear it together with your attire when you're walking to the ring, um, for on fight night, it well the whole thing it does suit you the whole package everything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so do I. That's why I do it. I mean, if I thought it didn't suit who I was, I wouldn't
No, of
do it.
course not. Yeah.
But yeah,
Last but
yeah,
not
I love it. I wish really. I was just going to say, I was a little bit more. I do wear it a lot, but I wish I wore it all the time. But I've got to remember. I get a little bit aggy when people look at me all the time, and I have to remember I've got a pink hat on. So sometimes I leave it at home.
So some people are kind of taken aback by a fighter wearing something that is okay. We didn't expect to see that. Is that why they end up staring at you?
I just think because it's different. I mean, I don't think who wears a bowler hat nowadays, let alone a pink one.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. Of course, it's quite unique.
Yeah.
Last but by no means least, any shout outs? I know you probably have a long list in your mind.
So first of all, none of this would be possible without my two brothers, Christian and Julian Knowles. Julian doesn't get much of a big mention because he's not really involved in the gym side, but he's no less a big part in my fighting career. Because me and Chris are so close and we're together every day, sometimes it's hard to talk to Chris. So it's good to have a second brother I can talk to about stuff. And he's the calm one about the three of us. So it's good. It's good for that. And then obviously, shout out to my dad and my mum about all their support and everything. My dad working so hard, we wouldn't be the family we are. And I wish he was here to see what I've achieved. And then my mum, bless her, she does the reception at the gym, so most of the guys know her. I mean, she'd do anything for anyone, to be honest. So to them, and then obviously my three kids. Thank them, and then obviously all my training partners. There's far too many to name them all, but none of this would be possible without them. So yeah, I'd like to thank all of them.
Lyndon Knowles, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I promise, definitely I will want to invite you back on the show again, and we'll definitely start earlier. Sorry about the what happened on this occasion. Just opened my computer
No,
and the
it's all good.
it wants to do an update. Guys, if you watched
No,
till this end, please don't forget to leave a like and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It really does help my channel grow when you do that. You can also catch the audio versions of this on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts as well. Lyndon, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
thank you. Good night.
Take care.